It's changed.
What's that? There's like one sit on each side of the table.
So like
As far away from the camera as possible.
pretty much.
Do I need to write stuff down?
No, we're not segregationists.
No.
Not the one female.
It's more just asking questions about what's required.
James, do we have asked the question?
Yes, no.
I'll go over and collect them.
Oh, Cameron said he wasn't going to come.
Isn't
Hello.
Avon like a big brand? This could be worth money.
Oh, it screws off. No, we're right there. Can you hear us from our end? Right, we can't hear you. Is your speakers on? Yeah, there is a technical difficulty.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep,
Can you hear me?
yep.
Oh, good, okay. Afternoon, everyone.
Right, some of this is a crossover group, and I'm just going to see if a couple others have shown up.
Okay. Right,
Yeah. Have any of you done this before? These guys are all new to this one, so you may as well do that. Start from where you did with the first time with the others.
Oh, I did it last
I don't
Did
know.
it?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll let you have a discussion with them and find
Okay.
out roughly where they're at and what they're thinking, and then I'll go and see if I can find a couple of others.
okay, thanks, John. Okay. Have you guys, okay, talk to me about your portfolio and what you've been doing.
Well, we've just been working on the projects. Personally, I don't know about the others, but I haven't really done anything on the scholarship yet. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
so-
that's okay.
Yeah, just in project and channels.
You guys
Just need,
existing
you right?
content from what we've been coming up with throughout the year.
Here, I'll leave
Do
you
you
in
want me
charge.
to move my video?
Yes.
Is it-
Okay. There's a remote that you can zoom in and out and talk with them. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the main things is the language that they're using in the scholarship and the sort of things that they need to be really clear on that are going to pull them through with the marks, and how to incorporate some of that, how to incorporate the language around the complexity and the practice of others.
Right. Okay.
Don't take notes, because I've got there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so when you did your projects, you would have engaged with outside technologists?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That would be either in the community or online or whatever, ask an expert,
We
that
had
sort of thing.
Speakers coming in and talking about
Okay.
complexities and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, have you got in front of you any work to do with the scholarship, like the scholarship schedule for a start?
Well, I might do it somewhere. I don't know.
Now, I have a space on your Moodle site, and last night I put up 3 new documents, 3 new resources, and in there it's about synthesizing. Now, how many people are doing English and have done reports for English? Have you all done that?
I don't think we can.
So you need to have a fairly a good understanding of English. Now, you've got to realise that scholarship is literally what it is. It's the top of the line. To get an outstanding scholarship is well and truly above the top of the line. This is nationwide. Okay, so you're up against some very, very stiff competition. Now, what the scholarship is about is you reporting on your portfolio. All right? You're basically reporting on your modelling of your portfolio. What externals are you doing? Have you done externals level 3 yet?
Yes.
Or are you doing them now?
Doing them
At the
now.
moment.
Right, so you're doing them along with scholarship, are you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, can you give me the numbers of your externals? Because I need to look at those and think, okay, some of the evidence could be pulled from there into your scholarship report. So it's no use double doing the work if it's already there.
Yeah.
So do you remember what externals you're doing?
I know mine's on complex.
Oh wait.
parameters.
This
Number
is something. Oh, that's scholarship.
I need the numbers, guys.
Yeah.
Actually, need the numbers.
Yeah, I'll Google it.
Yeah, because it's on complex operational parameters.
Yeah, you're on the same thing? Okay, I'll Google it.
Yeah, but that's no good to me. I actually need the number.
We're just doing it now.
Do you know what you're doing?
Okay, I'm going to go and try and find technology subjects. Technology. And level 3. I'm on the NZQA site. Gosh, it's taken me to TKI, which I don't want. So you haven't got it there at all?
91614.
91614.
Yeah, the three of us are doing that.
And is there any other one?
No,
What's your called?
mine's a design.
Design.
Is that critique of design?
Yeah.
I can't find it.
Demonstrate understanding of operational parameters in complex and highly complex technological systems.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. How are you going with it?
We're getting through it.
Yeah, I'm almost finished.
Excellent. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty tough one.
Yeah,
What was
so-
the other one?
I can't find
What was it? It was about design, was it?
critique the design.
Critique of design.
You don't know the number?
it. No.
Can you search
I can't find it.
in technology standards?
Is that the title, Critique of Design?
Is that it?
Yeah, I think
No.
it is.
Sorry?
I think so, but I'm not quite sure.
Internal, external. Demonstrate understanding of how tech modelling supports tech development and implementation.
No, it's not the
Well,
modelling.
some people are doing that one.
It's not
It's
that
not
one
that
though.
one.
No, she's not doing that one.
So you're doing that one, but not for you. Okay, I'll have to come back to that because, undertake a critique of a technological outcome. Design, that'll be it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is look at those tonight and just keep an eye on the Moodle site and what I put up in there to give you ideas, okay? I've also started a forum up there which I'd like you to respond to. You know, I put some up there last night, okay? Now, synthesizing. If we look at that as the schedule, because that's what you need to have in front of you, okay? The resource material that I put up on the Moodle site last night is all about synthesizing. There's quite a bit in there, all right? So, when you say, have you started your report yet?
Not for scholarship.
No, okay. So, what the scholarship, have you looked at the exemplary material on scholarship, online?
A little bit, not much.
Okay, you really do need to look at that to generate some ideas, okay? And questions, because I need that feedback from you in order to feed forward into you your next steps sort of thing. You know? If you don't tell me what your need is, I'm not a mind reader, I won't be able to help, if you know what I mean. So, going from that angle, to do a report on your scholarship is to do a report on your actual portfolio. What you did, how you did it, what you learned from it, what input did the technologists that you linked into your project, how they helped you, what new knowledge you gained from them, and how you used that new knowledge. All right, how did that make a better input into your portfolio as opposed to if you had been doing it by yourself, sort of thing? Do you know what I mean? You're looking at comparing and contrasting your particular technological practice with them. Is there any similarities? Okay, if so, what about that? Okay, pull it apart, deconstruct it. Look at it from an outsider's point of view, almost like an out-of-body experience where you're looking down on your work and you're actually really pulling it to bits, you're analysing it, and then that's called deconstructing, and then constructing and bringing it back together in a concise and precise report. Now, a very good idea to get that concise and precise is to have subheadings, all right? And in the subheadings, underneath that, you could have either bulleted points, but don't just have lists, and you must have an opening statement, all right? For an example, technologist B, who is I'll use the yoke bike because in the past I've used the yoke bike, okay? Technologist B, yoke bike, came into the class and talked to the class about innovation and design. When I looked at what I was proposing to do for my particular design, I found that I didn't have enough knowledge to be able to complete my conceptual design. So I therefore, on my research, I found out from such and such that to do such and such would be a better way to do it as opposed to what I had decided to do. All right? But don't stop there. You then justify why you did that. All right? And then you also, after the justification, you say how that has made your product better for the market. All right? Consider things like intellectual property, I'm sure you have, and copyright, and the legal and the ethical, okay? And the social values as well, okay? The sustainability, okay? The longevity, all right? Also consider things like, if it's not sustainable what you've done, why not? Had you thought about that when you were designing and producing? If you didn't, that is not a problem. All you need to do is say, in future I would have, and from the new knowledge gained from my research and portfolio in general, I have learnt that. In future I would. I will give you some sentence starters on synthesis. Can you see that I'm holding up?
No.
Okay, I know that I'm new to this VC thing, sorry. So I know that I can use this camera or something to... Okay, what I'll do is put it on the Moodle site for you, alright?
Yeah.
These are sentence starters, things like, especially under evaluation. So what you need to do is sectionalize your report into an introduction, like a beginning, a middle and an end, you know? Tell the marker your journey of your technological practice and outcome. That's basically what the marker's looking for. The marker's looking for comparing and contrasting with the real world situation, what you've learnt from that, what you've gained from that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you've got that schedule in front of you. Look at number 1, the matrix on number 1. Have you got it in front of you?
Yeah, we got a copy.
You got 1 between 4.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we don't know.
Okay. So, number 1, demonstrated some synthesis and integration. So, if you've got a highlighter, you should highlight the word integration there, or a pen. Just underline it, and then you can draw down one from the net. Okay, so integration is important there. Of technological experiences. Now note that experiences is in the plural. It's not just in the singular. Highlight experiences. Now these can be anything. Anything from your sketching, from your modelling, from your interaction with your stakeholder, feedback, feed forward. All right, these are all your experiences and under your technological practice. It is also your planning. You may have done some planning and you realise that what you're doing is not right and you've gone off onto a tangent. Now that's quite all right. What you can do is say how you brought it back to the real deal sort of thing and what influenced you. Experiences are also research. In the research that you found, how did you use that? Did you, as you were progressing through designing and completing your prototype, did you perchance have to do any more research? If so, why so? Okay? What was the gap in there? Consider, and I always use Team New Zealand and the boats that they design. I mean, who would have thought that something can be designed so magnificently in New Zealand like that? You know, we are a very innovative country. And that's the sort of thing you can sort of think about. I mean, you can even look at how they and what processes they use, you know. Systems technology is in there, right from the sail makers right through to the sailors themselves. They are a technological system in that Team New Zealand. Every person knows their place and knows what they're doing. All right, teamwork. Now, if your technologists that you've tapped into, are they part of a team or are they singular?
Teams.
Like, do they work in a group?
Yeah, part of development teams for things.
Right. So they will be working in a team environment too, systems technology. So how do they handle that? You know, what happens when you get disagreements about something? What happens when you're working for a stakeholder, for instance? You've designed the work and they don't like it, and you know what you've designed is better than what they want. What are you going to do about that? How are you going to cope with that? Yeah, what techniques are you using? These are all down to experiences. If you see their knowledge, skills, ideas, and methods. So highlight that word methods to allow their technological outcome to be realised. Alright, so that's just demonstrating. In the old system, that would be identify. So that would be the achieved in the old system. Alright, so if you're looking down that line of demonstrated, you're looking more along the achieved. Okay, so when you see explained and justified, I'm sure that your teacher has told you this, those are the higher marks, yeah? These are the sentence starters of evaluation. Bits and pieces that I have designed for you to. How many people use charts? Do you use diagrammatic charts to sort your planning out? Like a SWOT analysis thing, the strengths, the weaknesses? Have you done any of that?
No,
Sorry?
not really.
It's quite good to use some of those because again, you're turning around and you are showing the marker that you're separating out your thoughts, and from those thoughts you have generated this. You know, you're looking at the planning tools that you have used. How did you utilise them? How did they best serve your purpose, or were they just a total waste of your time? And again, that's not a bad thing if they were, because you have learned from it. The marker is interested in what you have learned. Bottom line, yeah? I have learned that, okay? So if we go along to the explain how some of the complexities of the situation, you know, these complexities can be anything from things that you had not anticipated happening. Has anybody had that happen to you? Right, as you were doing your project? Things that you had not anticipated have fallen in.
Yeah.
Right, so how did you deal with those? All right, they've been identified and you've gone on to explore them. You can explain why the outcome addresses the problem, okay? You justify the tech practice undertaken. So if you look down the second column and the second row, and you're looking at justified why the outcomes addresses the problems, or justify the technological practice undertaken. There are two ways there that you can get that standard. You with me?
Yes.
Okay. Explain how the complexities have been of the situations have been identified and explored. Alright, and then you've got 8 marks. Justified comprehensively down the bottom, the technological practice. Okay, comprehensively, what I get my students to do is look up these words. Okay, what does comprehensively mean in this context with what you are doing now? Okay, So that's where I would be looking, saying, well, what am I meaning when I'm saying comprehensively? That is giving a very full analysis, a justification of that analysis, and the next steps forward as a result of that, and what happened, okay? It could be anything from, when we're looking at the complexities of the situation, you had booked in time, for instance, you've got a chart up there, and you've got your key milestones recorded there, and you've got your subtasks underneath that, and you're saying, okay, I'm going to book in my technologist to come in to see me at this particular time, but that technologist is too busy in his business and she can't come in. That is a complexity. How did you deal with that? What did you do? Did you just park it up and say, can't do it anymore? Or did you go on to other aspects of your technology practice for your outcome? Did that happen to any of you? Because quite often that does happen.
With my stakeholders and things.
Yeah. And so you've got to record things like that, how you coped with that, what did you do about that, and look at how does the real world deal with things like that, you know, because we all have to work to deadlines. We're all producing something, you know, in this consumer world for someone else. Okay? What is time management? How is it explained to you? What did you do about it? What tools did you use? How did they help you? I get my students to start off with a Gantt chart, and that just plots out, this is how I'm going to do it, this is when it's going to be done by. But, dare I say it, teenagers being teenagers, they're not good on time management, and I would be very, very rich if everybody gave me $10 for every student who writes that. Then I get them to do what they call a working Gantt chart. They're actually using that Gantt chart to keep them on track. Have you devised for yourself personalised checklists? How do you keep track of your time? How do you keep those milestones? Are you recording that?
Yeah.
All right, that's your modelling, okay? So you're talking about that, your functional modelling, yeah? All right? How many of you, for instance, have not had enough skill base you felt for what you're doing for your project? Okay, go around the room from the young lady first. What are you doing? Your actual outcome?
I am creating a website
Yep.
for the Ministry of Education.
Right.
So yeah, I had to do some like training, like.
Absolutely. Is this going to be an interactive website?
Yeah.
Okay, and
at the moment.
has it got built-in database with it?
I'm not sure. My
Okay.
I've got a web designer who's doing
Right.
most of the work, and I'm managing it and designing it, and he's doing all the coding.
Okay, so that's quite complex in the sense that, okay, you could be reporting on partnership, okay?
Yeah.
And what you're learning within that partnership, that close relationship to develop an outcome for a real client, yeah?
Yeah.
You need to be explaining about what you're learning as you're going along and how that is helping you, yeah?
Yeah.
It's all about synthesization, and you need to break it down. A good idea is to put screen dumps in there and talk to it. But when you put the screen dumps in, make sure that they are legible for people to read, or not too big that they take over the page either. And I'm sure you've been told, identify them as Fig 1, Fig 2 and everything else. And when you supply your bibliography, make sure that all sources are there and they are in alphabetical order. Yeah? Okay. Okay, the gentleman at the back with the striped.
I'm doing a 3D animation, sort of about helping victims of bullying.
Right.
Yeah. You know,
Okay, so who's your stakeholder for that?
stakeholder. I'm sort of using the target audience, which is year 9s and 10s, as the stakeholder, getting feedback from them.
Awesome. Okay, so you're getting real input into there.
Yes.
How have you tapped into other technologists? What sort of technologists are they, and how are they helping you with your project?
I think they'd be more on the skills of it, so just people online getting their own advice on ways I could achieve certain things in the modelling and the 3D modelling and stuff.
Yeah. What program are you using for your 3D modelling?
Blender.
Blender, okay, that's a good one. Do you know, so you've tapped into people who are working with Blender online?
Yes.
Okay. Just trying to think there. I'll come back to that in a minute. Next gentleman.
I'm designing an online application system for our school athletics day for the sports coordinators.
Right, so that's like an app?
Yeah, so using Ruby on Rails to make a functional system where people can input their details and select which events they want to do, and it outputs an Excel spreadsheet for the coordinators.
Oh, that sounds great. That's great. So who are you tapping into for your technologist expert?
I've been using the internet as well quite extensively, people that are using Ruby on Rails and that sort of thing. We also had a few speakers and things to do with that talked about planning and technological processes that would help during the project.
Have you recorded all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had,
Okay, is that helping you with your planning?
It has done a bit. It kind of helped me see helped me see how good planning could actually lead to improving the outcome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
modelling and that sort of thing, yeah.
If I can term it like a snail, you know when you look at a snail crawling along, they leave a trail behind?
Yeah.
That's exactly what a technology journal is all about. Okay? From woe to go, I pick up my students' technology portfolios and I can see a journey. I can see a story. Okay? Now that's your technology journal, your portfolio. The scholarship is reporting on that. It's reporting, as I've said before, and it's synthesizing out, breaking it up, okay, into deconstructive and then reconstruct. Okay, the guy in the red t-shirt, sorry?
I'm creating a web app for automating simple exams.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's more or less systems technology. Have you tapped into anybody to help with that and programming on that?
Pretty similar to being here, mostly the internet and also with the planning, the speakers that came in, but we've had the same speakers, so just listening to them, how they plan, and yeah. But most of the skill-based stuff, I haven't learned at school, so the internet mostly.
Right, okay. Have you, okay, for your one, did you develop a questionnaire and ask students about exams and how they feel sort of thing and what would help them and all the rest of it?
No, I didn't.
Because by the sounds of it, that could be part of your research in the respect of you're actually aiming for what a targeted audience there.
I'm using Mr. Crichton as a stakeholder, so he gave me a lot of specifications.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's well and truly covered then. All right. That sounds all right. Any questions? Has what I've been saying so far been helping?
Yeah. I was wondering,
Okay.
in terms of the second column of the marking schedule, what's the big difference between explaining and justifying?
Okay. This is where I talk about my technological staircase. Okay. The first level was achieved, really. You are just identifying, okay? You've picked up a tool, you've said, and you've put it in your report, but there's nothing telling me about it, okay? That's just identifying, which is barely achieved in the new standards now, okay? Explaining is picking up that tool and saying, I have designed this remote for my target audience of a middle-aged group because it is very simple to use. The buttons that are larger than most because of eyesight and so forth and so on. I'm going on to explain, yeah? I'm looking at the materials components within this remote, and I'm saying I've made it of hard plastic, so if it drops on the floor, it doesn't break, etc. I will go into the material properties and say and explain why that this has been made the way it's been made. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then I would also go on to justify, Okay, you look at phones, those old phones, you know, the dial-up ones. Old people have sometimes in their homes because they still want to live at home, maintain independence, and the dial is really big lettering and big letters because they have to have that because they're semi-blind. Yeah. And so you would go on to justify this telephone design has been made. I have made it with in mind of older people in mind who live at home, the elderly, who their sight is impaired. I did this because blah blah, and I go on extensively to explain. Justifying is if I were to do this. During the course of A, my planning, and B, my implementation of my outcome, and using new knowledge and skills gained from research, I found that if I was to do this again, I found that blah, 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 you know, what you found. If I was to redesign this project again, I would change my planning in the format of, so that I could. Is that making sense?
Okay, so it's kind
So
of...
you're explaining, sorry?
So having hindsight and that sort of thing as well as the experience.
Yeah. So you're really, really explaining it, but sticking to the point at the same time. A lot of people, it's a bit like when you go online and you're on a website there and you're just getting really, really excited about what you're finding, and then you go off into another link and another link and another link, and all of a sudden you're lost in the process, yeah? We've all done it. Yeah, we've all done it. But that's why I say to my students, park up your bibliography at the bottom of your toolbar. Anything you find, slap it on there. Just copy and paste the URL, put it down there. All right, so you can always have a track record then. Yeah? And so it is with your planning. Really take a look and analyse your planning as you are progressing through. Saying, does this make sense? You know? Get somebody to look at, get Mr. Crichton to look at it. To say, okay, how about tweak this and tweak that. Get me to look at it, whatever, as you're progressing through. Does this make sense? Am I reporting on? Because the justification comprehensively, I strongly suggest again you look up the word comprehensively and ask and seek what it really they are wanting under comprehensively. Now draw that into your own context and where you're at and what you're reporting on. If you are still confused, use the forum, okay, that I've set up. Talk to me on the forum. You know, don't just leave it to every Wednesday, okay, because I'd like to have more interaction during the week. Because you might be, you know, struggling with something and you're just not sure, okay. Let's go to the third one, 1, 2, 3. It says at the top, some reflection. Now, all this is about reflective writing, okay. Really, that's what it's about. If you were to sum it up, it's reflective writing. What is reflective writing? It is about, ask your English teacher, they might be able to tell you, but this is off the top of my head what I believe reflective writing is. It's about you've done something, you're reporting on it, you're reflecting on the process and on the outcome and on future. How would you use this for future? What would you do if you were to do this project again? What would you change and why? It's all about your learning. That's what the marker is interested in. What have they learned? How have they applied? What skills and knowledge did they gain on the way? And how did they apply that within their process? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we go down to the middle there on the third column, it says it's 4 marks. It says reflected on information, understandings and practices. Note again, it's plural. It is not singular. So there's a hint there that they are looking for, you just don't report on one thing. All of the influences, you could have a subheading, influences that affected me during my project, okay? And then you could list them. Stakeholder feedback is one, okay? Research is another one. New skills attained is another one. Peer reviews could come into that, yeah? Teacher-student review, whatever, you know? Anything that you found very, very useful, because guys, these are tools. They're actually tools of planning, Okay? That is what technology, the heart of technology is reflective practice. Okay? A product is not made without reflective practice, and that happens throughout the whole procedure. Right from the word go, from the planning stage through to the conceptual designs stage, to the development stage, and to the outcome stage, and then it's cyclic. You see, you might have to go back. Okay, I've got it to this stage and it's still not fit for purpose. Why not? So you will have to backtrack and say, why wasn't that fit for purpose? What new skills or knowledge can I bring in to make that fit for purpose? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay, so critically reflecting. If I was you, I'd be looking up these words of critically, comprehensively, justified. I'll do the same thing and put it on Moodle for you as well, for my analysis. If you look at the bottom one where it says 8 marks, and that's where you should be looking, aiming for the 8 marks. Okay, you don't put a car on Trade Me for $10,000 if you want $10,000, do you? Well, you'd be silly if you did. Alright, you'd put it on for say 12,000 and come down. So it's the same here. Critically reflected on information, understandings, and the practices of others. This is not you, this is of others. Okay? Look at the word of others. Okay? And how often it's mentioned in this matrix. That were used to inform the development of their technological outcomes. So again, it's reflective in the respect that how strongly did your technologists influence you in your design and your whole portfolio. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Everything is systems, right from the planning through to the development, through to the outcome, through to fitness for purpose, sustainability, longevity, all of these words. I put up a technology glossary up on the Moodle, it's already up there. Have a look at that. Pick out some words in that you think are applicable to your work. Alright? Put them up on the Moodle forum if you say so, if you want to, and see and ask how would they be applicable. You with me?
Yeah.
It's all about the literacy. It's all about looking at it and saying to yourself, okay, here's a word comprehensively, how am I going to apply that and what I've got here? Yeah? Have I given you enough to start off with anyway?
Yeah.
Too much? Bit overwhelmed? Stop me if you're overwhelmed, guys, because I know what it's like. I mean, technology is full of words, absolutely full of words. Once you start getting it though, it just rolls off the tongue, believe you me. I'm very passionate about it, I love it. Because it's people like you that I see that makes me so passionate about it. I think, wow, they're doing that, that is amazing. And they're getting those results, hey, that's so cool. Yeah? So keep up the good work. Any more questions?
No, I don't think so.
Alright then, shall we close off now and I'll see you on Moodle and next week.
Okay.
Apart from that.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You take care now.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
That's us, that's creepy.
She's so funny flipping. I think I can move this.
I'm Mr. Crichton.
Oh, the
Remember
camera's
last time we
not-
did
it's not the camera.
What? Oh,
Yeah,
that.
can you stop the camera?
Yeah. How do you do that?
How do we so stop.
Play, record.